Hi, listeners. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Worlds Collide, the podcast where I talk to people who moved abroad. And I am your host, Victoria. So before we start, first, just a heads up, I caught a cold and I think it's due to this hot weather and AC everywhere. So I don't know, you sweat and sweat and sweat. And then you go to like a room or to a building and it's like freezing cold and you're all wet and you get cold and you catch whatever. So whatever, I'm struggling with a bad cough. And so maybe this affects my voice for this little intro here. Anyway, I get through it. Okay, so first things first, as always, I just wanted to tell you that if you don't mind, please give my podcast a 5-star rating wherever you listen to it, because I think this would help me immensely to be more recognized and get a wider audience. And yeah, I would love to have a bigger audience, of course. And if you haven't done it already, push the follow button in the corner of your app, so you will always be notified if there's a new episode and you can listen to it right away and you won't miss any. Okay, so now a quick introduction to this week's podcast. My guest today is Doctor Alika McGuire. And I have to say this episode is a little bit different. You can probably already see it in today's title, huh? So when Dr. Alika McGuire contacted me first, I hesitated a little bit to have him on because he just moved from Hawaii to St. Louis. So it's still the same country. How different can it be? But then I thought about it a little bit longer and I think like it's so different. You know, it's like the culture is so different. The climate is different. And so I was eager to hear his story. And I am really glad I had this really nice conversation with him. And I don't want to take away too much because I want you to find out why he decided to leave Hawaii and move to the mainland and finally ended up in Missouri. Okay, here it is. Here is Alika. Hi, Alika. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good too. So tell me, where are you right now?
Currently, I am in St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay, but where are you from originally?
And originally, I'm from the Big Island of Hawaii.
All right, so this episode is going to be a little bit different because it's still the same country, but I thought because it's so far away and like your original culture from Hawaii is so different than the culture here, so I thought like we should do this episode. Okay, why did you move to Missouri? I mean, also, you moved to the Midwest, out of all places.
I know. I get that question a lot, actually. And I think it all started at like around the 7th or 8th grade when I started learning how to play or started playing volleyball competitively. I love volleyball. Been playing forever. Always loved it. And then when I got into high school, I realized that there were opportunities for me to play volleyball somewhere else outside of the islands and all of that. And it was and I wanted so much to pursue that because playing after high school was not really an option, at least on the competitive collegiate front. It wasn't an option on my island.
I see.
Take that so you take that, and then my dad, who was very, very, very strict, who oftentimes didn't let me play volleyball, or at one point said that he didn't think I was good enough to play volleyball in college, or I didn't work hard enough. I mean, I was just, it lit a fire under me to want to go and get out and experience things because I just got so tired of literally being stuck on a rock in the middle of the ocean.
Oh, I see. I never even thought of that like this because I mean, I'm thinking of living there in paradise, but I never thought like having limited options, like
Oh my
career
gosh.
wise or
Yeah.
education wise.
Education wise, career wise, just activity, just
Mm.
there's so many things that um, I never got to experience just because I lived in Hawaii.
Honestly, like this complaining on a high level, kind of,
I,
right? No, I mean, I get it. Like, sure, no skiing or something, but probably
Mhm.
there are also just like smaller things.
Yeah, they're definitely, it was like, ice skating, right? If I wanted to go, I'm in St. Louis now. If I wanted to go ice skating, I could go, there's a rink that's open all year round,
Right,
just a 20-30 minute drive from me,
right.
right? If I wanted to do that in Hawaii, I had to plan a trip. I had to, get out, I had to go out of school, I had to call off work, I had to get on a plane, I had to fly to a different island, I had to get a hotel, get a car. Like I had to do all of this stuff just to do something as simple as ice skating.
Is there ice skating on which island is ice skating?
And on Oahu, yeah.
Ah, okay. Well,
Yeah,
it's crazy
there's
that it
we've
it
got we've got one we call it the Ice Palace. It's an ice skating rink.
I mean, it's crazy that they have it at
Mhm.
all, I think,
Yeah,
because the climate, I mean,
yeah,
it's like having it in Dubai,
yeah.
kinda, it's also kinda like
I don't even know if it's still open. I've been there
mm,
once in my whole life, and it was in high school, so this was over
right.
10 years ago now.
Oh, okay. So, and then, when did you move to Missouri?
So I didn't move to Missouri immediately after. Actually,
Mhm.
I did my first year of college in Hawaii,
Okay.
and I saw that there was a program available to students that would allow me to go to a different college while still paying my in-state Hawaii tuition.
Oh,
So
okay.
I applied for that program, and I just put a bunch of names in basically in a hat and picked out whichever one came first.
Alright.
Um,
Uh-huh.
so I put in a few different options. I was like, okay, Oregon sounds like fun because I had friends that were there.
Uh-huh.
Vegas, I have a cousin that lives in Vegas. Arizona, I have another friend, and then
Uh-huh.
Northern Colorado in Greeley, of all places, was the place that came out of the hat.
I don't even know
Um,
what that is.
yeah, the universe. So I ended up transferring to the University of Northern Colorado,
Uh-huh.
where I
Okay.
did my undergrad. To get me from Colorado to St. Louis, throughout my time there, I developed a really big interest in chiropractic care and becoming a chiropractor. So I moved to St. Louis to study becoming a chiropractor.
Was it the first time you were away from the island?
I did the whole Disney thing when I was a kid.
That
My
doesn't
parents took me
count,
to
yeah.
Disneyland. So we did the California Disney trip
Mhm.
when I was in middle school. But out beyond that, that was my only experience. Um, we call it in the mainland. my
Yeah,
first
yeah.
my first experience in the mainland was packing my bags and moving to Colorado.
So how was it then? So what did you expect? And
I did not know what to expect, honestly. I was just there and super excited about just seeing new things. I think at that point in my life, I was very ready for something new. I was kind of tired of living under my parents' roof with their rules, and I was ready for just about anything, and I would have settled with anything.
okay.
Um, but I'll tell you this, I think one thing I remember very vividly was getting off of the plane in Denver, Colorado,
Mhm.
and looking around the airports, the biggest airport I've ever seen up until this point, and thinking to myself that I had never seen so many white people in one
Right.
room at
Right.
once. I'm, for those of you who are only listening and can't see the video, I'm Hawaiian, I'm Filipino, I've got brown skin, long hair, and tattoos,
Uh-huh.
and very much. That's a very it's a very common thing to see in Hawaii. Lots of people look
Right.
similar to me with
Yeah.
brown skin. So I've never seen so many white people in my life in one space.
Yeah. How did that make you feel? Did you
Um,
was like, oh wow, I'm really sticking out here, or
yeah, I don't know if I don't know if I stuck out or if folks in the mainland were used to that type of
Mhm.
diversity that they didn't, or there was also so many people, so I doubt I really
Yeah.
stuck out
Yeah,
too.
yeah. And I mean, on
Um,
the airport, there are always, look, I mean, people just
yeah,
passing by from
yeah,
everywhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do remember when I got to Greeley that people would look at me and they were probably wondering what my ethnicity was. They people kind of they could kind of see Asian. They
Mm-hmm.
thought racial ambiguity. They couldn't quite put their finger on it, but I
Right.
think at one point someone thought I was Mexican. Um, they thought they knew I just wasn't from there.
Yeah.
um, they were trying to put their finger on it. I was once mistaken for African American as well, which that was to me was interesting.
That's really interesting. You're a little bit too white for that.
Yeah.
And what about, like, for example, like the day-to-day life? How was it different to Hawaiian life?
Oh yeah. One thing, and I was thinking about this right before we got started recording.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know how to shake hands or greet people.
Ah, so what do you do
I
in
did not
Hawaii?
know. In Hawaii, when meeting males for the first time, it's a handshake where you kind of wrap around the thumb and then you pull in for a hug.
Uh-huh.
That's
Uh-huh.
the handshake hug
Right.
combination. That's a very common greeting when meeting males in Hawaii or male to male interactions.
Also, strangers?
Yes, also with strangers.
Okay.
Yeah, especially with strangers.
Okay.
So. And then with the females, it's, usually a, two-handed hug, or it's the light arm on the shoulder with a meeting of the cheeks for a kiss.
Okay, I've seen
That's a
this.
standard greeting.
I
Yeah,
know
that's a
this.
standard greeting. That's standard for
Uh-huh.
Hawaii.
I don't know the two handshake hug.
Yeah, so if I take my hand, the other person wraps their hand around the thumb
Yeah.
like that, and then other hand they pull in,
Okay,
other
and they
hand
give a
reaches
hug.
for the hand.
Okay, I see.
So
Okay.
the first time I met my college roommates in Colorado, I didn't know the standard
Formal, yes. Uh-huh.
formal handshake and the hi, my name is, and my roommate's name was Adam. Hi, my name is Adam. Hi, my name is Alika. And it was the funniest thing because I'm moving all my stuff into the room, having the boxes. I left some stuff outside because I was doing it all by myself, and I just I'm running. He's in the room. He's like, "Hey, what's up?" And I do the whole like, handshake hug
Uh-huh.
thing. I'm like, "What's up?" I'm like, "What's up, bro?" I'm Alika. I gotta go ahead and grab my stuff. And
Yeah.
he comes back to later, like a weeks later. He comes back to me. He's like, "Yeah, dude, I didn't know what to do. I thought we were gonna have some problems because I didn't, I didn't know how to react to that.
Oh.
I didn't know how to shake hands."
Oh, that's so weird. I mean,
Yeah,
more for him because he had the problem, right?
yeah.
Okay, so just me, stupid question. Since you went to public school in Hawaii, I guess, did
Mhm.
they not teach you how to greet on the mainland? Because
No,
it's the same
I mean,
country, you
yeah.
know?
No, we didn't understand. We never talked about how to like proper greetings or anything like that. We did, we did do small talk, but just, there's this in Hawaii, it's so family. We have this aloha spirit
Uh-huh.
where, aloha, it means hello, it means goodbye, it means love, it has so many different iterations.
Mhm.
Um, when really all it means, I think in my understanding of it, it just means to spread and share love with yourself and those around you.
Yeah, like good
So yeah,
energy.
it's that kiss on the cheek is creates that connection. It brings you closer together. The hug, it shows that aloha. It shows that spirit that
Yeah.
people just naturally have for each other in Hawaii. So that's just something I lived and grew up with. I didn't think anything else of it.
And do you miss this here now?
Yes, I do. I do miss it. Yeah, because and I think it's gotten a lot better, especially with my patients and younger people. Lots of folks are okay coming in. I'm a hugger. Like they'll
Okay.
announce that they're a hugger before
Uh-huh.
coming in for a hug, which
Wait,
is totally fine.
wait, do you also hug your patients?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes my patients,
Okay.
they come in for hugs. Typically after they've had their first adjustment,
Okay.
and they're
Okay.
feeling really good. Sometimes, a hug is what they feel, is what they
Okay.
want is necessary, and hugs are totally fine in my office.
Yeah, okay, that is nice. I mean, it's good
Yeah,
to know though, right? It's like, oh yeah, he's a hugger.
yeah.
Okay. So no, I wanted to ask you about settling in, but you went to college, so you just
Mhm.
moved into a dorm kind of.
Yeah, I
Uh-huh.
started out in a dorm, and that was kind of there was a lot of there was a lot of language. There was a lot of language, kind of like selling on my parents' part. I don't think they would have. I don't think my parents would have allowed me if I asked them to. I don't think they would have said yes if I asked them, "Hey, can I go to college to a different school?" Um,
Oh, okay.
I don't think they would have said yes. Growing up, we didn't have a lot. There wasn't a lot of money, and I grew up, and my parents were pretty strict, especially my dad. And I think if I had asked them to go to college in the mainland, he
Mm-hmm.
probably would have said no. He probably would have thought how much that would have costed him and
Right,
said
right,
no.
right. Right.
So, which is completely understandable. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but so when it came to when did that first year of college in Hawaii, I actually went out and sought the programs that there was available to me, and
Mm-hmm.
um, it basically I put in the application. I got the money to pay for the application and get everything done and figure all of it out. Got everything taken care of,
Mm-hmm.
and basically a few months before I was scheduled to start school in Colorado, just went up to my mom and I said, "Hey, I'm going to school. I'm going to school in Colorado."
Uh-huh.
She's like, "Okay,"
Okay.
and I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go to school. I start in the fall." And
Uh-huh.
then she's like, "Okay." I said, I just need a ticket. Like, I just need a ticket.
Yeah,
Like, that's
the
all
plane ticket.
I took
Yeah.
care of everything else. I took care of my food. I took care of my room and board. I
Uh-huh.
took care, tuition was
Uh-huh.
all the things were figured out.
Yeah.
And basically it was just get me there. That's all I
Yeah.
needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that's fair as a student
Hmm.
to ask your parents, of
Yeah.
course.
Just
Um
did the work. And then I
yeah.
realized, that's when I realized very quickly that that's when I realized very quickly that if I didn't ask questions, no one could tell me no. So I just started doing things on my own and I started making my own decisions from that point.
Smart. Very smart.
Now, another part of the selling was that I was only supposed to do it. I only signed up myself for this exchange program for a semester.
Ah, okay. Uh-huh.
It was an exchange program. I I was in Colorado for 2 days and then extended it to the entire year.
Okay.
And at the end of that exchange program, they gave me the option to continue going to school in Colorado,
Mm-hmm.
and I officially transferred. Another conversation that happened was there would have been a month between me moving out of the dorms and then moving into my
Uh-huh.
apartment or my house with my roommates. There was a month time where I wouldn't have any place to live,
Oh, okay.
and remember calling dad. Hey dad, I got a house, I got a roommate, I got I can cover rent
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
blah blah blah. But I'm out of the dorms this day. I don't get to move into my house until this day.
Uh-huh.
Can I just can help me out with the ticket to get home for just a month?
Mm-hmm.
And my dad said, he said, if I buy you a ticket, you're not going back.
What?
He said, yeah, that's what he said.
Why?
Um, that's a, that's
I
a,
mean,
that's, we could save that for the trauma,
yeah,
the,
yeah, I know,
the,
but I mean,
the healing trauma.
okay, yes, okay, but so you did
No,
not do this?
he was, I don't know, dad, that was dad growing up, very strict,
Okay.
very kind of mean, just it it's not all, it sounds bad. It wasn't all bad, but
Yeah. No,
that was kind of, yeah,
I just probably asked why because I
yeah,
always assume the parents want the best education possible for the children, but that sounded
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, you're not going back to school kind of thing.
There was
So,
a yeah, there was a lot of, I'm sure there was a lot of strife there,
uh,
but there was a lot going on there, and there's a lot of healing that happened
yeah.
because of it. But after that, I was like, okay, I'll figure it out. Hung up the phone,
Uh-huh.
figured it out for a month, just got my shit together, and
Okay.
then moved into my house. And then from there, I was just kind of, I'm like, this is it. Now live in Colorado. And then it was, what's after that, then
Okay.
went to school, got so fascinated with chiropractic care and how it helps people. And
Awesome.
it just like, and now I'm
Awesome.
in St. Louis. It's been crazy.
Yeah. So I have two questions from this story that you just told me. So, like,
Yeah.
why after 2 days you already decided to stay longer?
I think part of me knew that when I turned around, when I left my parents at the airport and I turned around and I walked through security, I think part of me knew I was never coming back.
Okay, so you kind of felt
I
some
think
more
yeah.
freedom in
I felt I
yourself?
felt freedom. I
Uh-huh.
felt that there was a bigger I felt like this was the first step into a much larger picture for what my life was going to turn out,
Okay.
and that being in Hawaii, being around my family was not going to be the place where I was going to experience anything and everything that I was ever going to be, like whatever my potentiality was.
Right. Right. And and so my other question was like, so where did you stay for that month?
Oh, I kind of just bummed it with friends,
Yeah.
slept
Okay, I
on
figured.
couches.
Yes, couch
I
surfing.
had some, yeah, I made some great friends that let me stay at their parents' house and all that stuff. I rode a
Yeah.
bike everywhere until I had the money to, until I was able to get a car and found work and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It was wild.
But then when you finished your college, um
Hmm.
were you ever like thinking of going back to the main island?
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
Not once. I will say, and that's kind of, I have missed out on a lot with my family, so I do get sad about it. Um, I think about how the first time I saw my nephew take his first steps at the airport as I was getting on the plane to leave Hawaii for the
Oh,
first
okay.
time.
Uh-huh.
That's a kind of a bittersweet moment for me. I
Mm.
was so happy to see him walk, but he's 14 now,
Oh god, that.
and I know, I missed his. It was a month before his first birthday, and I missed it. I've missed so many holidays and Christmases, and I've had, and he grew up without me there. And he's a wonderful, wonderful kid. I have a wonderful relationship with him. He's got a phone now, so I can actually
Yeah.
talk to him. So,
So does it also mean
um,
that you have not visited?
I have visited. I
Okay.
have visited. But there, a lot of the, I didn't get to see the fun things or
Sure.
experience that with him or spoil him and, take him, babysit him and all that stuff. And just about 3 months ago, my niece was born,
Mhm.
and she's growing up. without me too. And I'm like, I just, I see the photos and I just want to go there and pinch her cheeks.
Yeah, I
Um,
know, but I mean, it's hard. Like, but at least you're doing something that you really like, it seems
oh
like.
yeah, it's, there's got to be some. It can't all be perfect. There's got to be some type of exchange
Yeah.
um, there, and you've got to be okay with it. I do. I know at this point in my life, technology has increased so well that I know I'm going to be able to maintain better communication
Mm-hmm.
with all of my nieces and nephews and my entire family,
Mm-hmm.
um, as well as just everything else,
Yeah.
and maintain there, and there's, of course, there's other things. Back in about, was it 6 years ago, 2018, there was the big lava flow. I
Right. Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
there. I wasn't there to, my parents were, starting to move things out of their house just in case
Okay.
the lava was coming to them. So I wasn't there to help. And, you know, um, my grandmother's getting older. So lots of things
Mm.
are happening, without me there. And
Yeah.
I have to try my best to be a part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always yeah, you always have to make whatever. There are always like kind of consequences, right, for
Hmm.
your
Yeah.
moves. Yeah. Okay, but let me ask you, why did you then decide to move to Missouri or St. Louis?
Missouri, St. Louis, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so again, a whole nother story, right? Growing up sheltered, growing up very in a strict household, I didn't get to do a lot of things. I mean, I've never had a sleepover at my friend's house or anything like that.
Uh-huh.
I think it's just because we didn't have a lot. If anything, cost money or cost any amount of money, my dad's immediate reaction was like, no, because
Mm,
we couldn't afford it.
except
Um,
Disneyland.
that was, I'm sure that took a huge chunk
Yeah, yeah.
of their time,
Yeah.
and yeah. So I ended up, so because I didn't get to experience a lot of things, I overcorrected in Colorado. I did
Oh, I see.
everything.
You
I
did
did
everything.
anything and everything. Did all the bad stuff. Did all the good
Of
stuff.
course.
Um, had the whole college experience
Right.
and and everything. So I had a lot of fun, and didn't I was studying for exercise science. That's where I started. I wanted to be a sports psychologist,
Oh,
and
okay.
about 3 or 4 years in, I decided that I didn't want to be that. So I was just kind of
Mm,
in limbo. I'm 4 years in college, don't know what I want to do.
okay.
I have most of a degree that I'm not particularly interested in
Oh, sounds very familiar.
completed. I know. So I was just like, let's just finish. And
Right.
part of finishing was doing a internship for a semester. So
Mm-hmm.
again, because I kind of effed around in college, I just all of the ones that were sponsored on campus or near campus were taken up. So I had to go and search for my own things, and I came across a chiropractor, or someone at work suggested I talk to a chiropractor that she saw on Facebook, and I was like, let's try it, let's see what happens.
Uh-huh.
I was very confident that he would accept me because he was Japanese. I grew up in very Japanese influences,
Mm-hmm.
and he made it very difficult, actually. I would email email asking to if he was interested in an internship. He'd respond once, and then I'd email with a follow up, and then never hear from him for a while.
Uh-huh.
And we had this back and forth where he emails me once, I email back, and I'm getting ghosted for weeks. So
Okay.
at one point, I decided, all right, screw it. I'm going to pay for his time. I scheduled an appointment with
Oh, okay.
Dr. Ryan at his office. I said, I've
Okay.
got knee pain. I'm going to make him sit there and talk to me
Well,
and
that is so
accept me for
smart.
this internship, because that's what I needed. I just needed to graduate.
Ah,
And that
okay.
was the only lead that had gave me any inclination of pursuing. So
Uh-huh.
we went down that route. Needless to say, he accepted me for the internship. I started
Yeah.
in his office, and I watched this guy have so much fun helping people. And he on the first day, his room was, before he even got to the office, there was a line forming for people to see him, who, when he walked in the room, were excited to see him.
Uh-huh.
And he moved so quickly and effortlessly through this line of people, having conversations, laughing, smiling at 7:30 on a Monday morning.
Okay.
And it was like, I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then he started talking about what chiropractic does, how it helps people, how it's different from going to the medical doctor or the surgeon or anything else. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm just, in my mind, I'm just like I couldn't think that there was anything else I wanted to do in this
Yeah,
life, and
it's a great
that's
example,
how it
right?
was. Yeah.
Also,
So
like, good on you. I mean,
yeah,
everybody take it as an example. Like, you're so persuasive, you know?
yeah.
You didn't give up, so you ended up
Mhm.
there. So that's great.
Again, I didn't ask him. I didn't ask him to be his intern. I said, "I want to be your intern. All you need to do is say yes."
Okay.
like, like I'm gonna be here.
Uh-huh.
Um, he so it, all this, and then so I started applying for schools, and I was like, okay, where can we go for school? Looking at I asked them, oh, you want to go to Life University, and there was a campus in California. There's a campus in Marietta, Georgia. And then I was like, okay, well, that's send in the application. And I was like, oh, let's check out the New Zealand College of Chiropractic. Wouldn't that be nice? Um, and then
Sure.
and then checked out Logan University, because I had my aunt, my dad's cousin, who lived in St. Louis at the time.
Ah, uh-huh.
He lived there. So I was like, okay, I might as well apply for this school as well, because it'd be easy to live there. I can figure out the logistics of how to live with her and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It just made sense. But it wasn't my first option, my highest option. I really wanted to go to New Zealand. Um, the folks at Life University didn't quite answer my questions, and they weren't very responsive to my
Mm.
questions or anything like that. New Zealand College of Chiropractic, because it's an international school, there were some issues with accreditation. I would not be able to go back to the States and practice in every single
Right,
state.
right, right. Mm-hmm.
And then Logan University was the only college that was very responsive. They gave me a voucher to visit the school so I could have a tour of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and, you know, they also were very lenient with my low GPA. I didn't have very good grades
Okay.
in college,
Oh,
so
I see. Uh-huh.
they were willing to work with me to
Mm-hmm.
help me get my GPA up to the minimum, just so I could get accepted into the
Okay.
school. So that was the other thing.
So yeah, that is good. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. Yeah. And so this is then the story how you ended up there. Okay.
And that's how I ended up in St. Louis. Yeah, I was there. I was um my partner at the time, we weren't in a great relationship. It
Mm-hmm.
was, you know, so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go to chiropractic school out of state. I don't think you should come with me, you know.
Okay.
So we ended our
Uh-huh.
relationship. Um we And then I packed all my stuff. I put everything. It's. I still have the boxes. I still have the gray container that I had when I moved from Hawaii, and
Okay.
I have I have this. I still have the larger gray container that I had when I moved from Colorado to St. Louis. I
Okay.
still have those things, and I'm going to keep those forever, because I remember I fit my entire life into this small box, and then,
Uh-huh.
you know, 5 years later, I fit my entire life again. I consolidated my life again into these boxes,
Mm.
and I had so much stuff to get rid of. Gave it. I just whatever I couldn't sell, I left it. I said, "Hey, roommate, these are yours now. Are you okay with that? And he was like, yeah,
Okay.
that's fine. So he was happy to take all of them off my
Uh-huh.
hands. Um, and it's incredible now because right now I'm sitting in my home. I'm sitting in my house now. To go from just I think it's
From
like
a
a 10
box.
gallon container
Uh-huh.
to now I'm in St. Louis. I've been here we're going on 9 years this
Okay.
August.
Okay.
I've
It's a
been here.
while, yeah.
I have a new partner. I have a house. I have a dog. I have an entire office
Sure.
where
Yes.
I see hundreds of people a week. It's wonderful. So
Nice. And so what did you think of when you moved there? Was there like some kind of culture shock or something like that?
yeah, absolutely. So I loved Colorado. I thought that when my idea was that when I graduated, I was going to go back to Colorado
Ah,
after
okay.
graduating school.
Uh-huh.
And it just and like I said earlier, how I hadn't seen so many white people
Yeah.
getting off of getting into Denver. I had never seen so many black people in
Oh,
one
is
area too.
oh.
Yeah. In St. Louis is a very there's lots of black neighborhoods, and that's just
Uh-huh.
not something I got to see a lot of in Colorado.
Right. And not
So
in Hawaii
another culture
either.
shock. Yeah,
Yeah.
another culture shock. And with that even comes different things. So had to learn how to be all over again.
Uh-huh.
So another thing I got, just kind of a side note, I got to experience racism from different angles as
Mm.
well. That's a whole nother conversation. But I got to St. Louis, never seen so many black people in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And but I never realized how much I missed the diversity that is inherent within the islands. There's so
Right.
many different cultures, there's so many different people in Hawaii that just live on a small island and it's there's so many mixing
Mm-hmm.
um with that. And I didn't realize what I was missing in Colorado, where there's not a lot of variety of different cultural foods or events or, authentic cultural events
Uh-huh.
as well.
Yeah.
And then moving to St. Louis, we have these wonderful like world festivals. We have these cultural festivals, and there's so much diversity in St. Louis that after a couple of years here, I was like, I don't want to move back. I'm going to miss that
Okay.
diversity. I'm going to miss being able to eat different types of foods and experience different cultures and have
Yeah.
experience it not only in within the St. Louis community, but just in little pockets
Yeah.
just in general, because I missed that. On top of
Yeah.
that, I also, my partner now, we've been together for we're on 8 years together.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
So you're in a
he,
relationship the whole
you're in a
time, yeah.
relationship, very happy relationship. And I didn't want to lose that as well.
Sure.
So
And
staying in St. Louis just made perfect sense.
yeah. And what about like did you ever get used to colder weather?
Oh no, no.
Okay.
If you like, I, I, pardon my, like, I fucking hate the, it's so, I hate when it gets cold so much.
Well, it's
I love
cold
the
the whole
snow. The
time.
snow is so beautiful. Snow is so beautiful. It's so beautiful to look at. But when it's a little icy on the road and I gotta drive to work early in the morning and I'm shivering, I get in my car, everything's cold. I just, I'll bitch and moan the whole
I
time.
see.
Sorry.
Okay.
The cold is not something you want to hear me complain during the winter is going to be the
Okay.
when I'm complaining the most.
No more aloha spirit in winter.
Yeah.
All right. Did you then? I mean, I don't know. I always ask this question how to make friends, but I feel like when you're a student, I don't know, you make friends, right?
Yeah.
Everybody is like
Yeah.
from everywhere. Everybody is the need for friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's you'll always gonna make friends whenever you're within proximity of other people. It's
Yeah.
impossible to find similarities between you and other people. Whenever you're around, you're bound to make friends.
Yeah.
So for anyone that's out there, worried about making friends, just find an activity.
Find an activity.
Find an activity,
Yes.
do
Do you,
something.
do you still do the volleyball?
Oh yes, absolutely. Um, I still play volleyball, still play very competitive
Ah, okay.
volleyball, and still travel. Because I'm in St. Louis and because I'm in the continental US, it's so easy for me to take a weekend trip to drive to another state or another town to
Mm-hmm.
play in a very competitive volleyball tournament and be back in time for Monday for work, because that's not something that was available being in Hawaii.
Yeah, yeah. I understand. And so, but is there something that you don't get used to?
Okay, I miss one thing I miss, and I get very homesick a lot, is I was a huge surfer. I loved
Mm,
surfing. I
of
still
course.
love surfing, and of course here in the Midwest, I'm pretty much landlocked.
Yeah,
So again, another consequence of being able to live this life is I miss the ocean so much.
yeah.
And then there's like other things. I love to eat fish. I love eating poke, which is the raw
Uh-huh.
seasoned fish that you
Yeah,
get in Hawaii. I love that stuff. Can't find decent enough fish to
decent
make poke
enough.
with.
Okay,
So
because I mean, it's such a popular food here. It's popping up
mhm.
everywhere. I mean, like, I don't know, like 5 years ago, like all of a sudden,
Yeah.
it did it also make its way to
Yeah, it's
St.
it's
Louis?
we've got it, but if you go to we've got some poke places, but it's not the same. When you
Mm,
go to Hawaii, you go to the grocery store, and then there's kind of
yeah,
it's like a deli. It's like
yeah,
next to the deli they have the poke, and it's already seasoned, it's already just portioned out, and you just
yeah.
like, here, I want a half a pound of the ahi shoyu poke. I want the spicy ahi, half a pound of that, and then they just bag it. They put it in a container, weigh it,
Yeah,
put the sticker on it, and then you send you on your way. You get half a pound of poke. You get some hot rice at home, and then you're
right.
just num 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 num. It's so good.
Yeah, it's not that you get the whole bowl that you get here in the kind of almost like fast food
Yeah,
chain.
it's
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 like,
kind of out here. It's like, oh, I want some edamame. Give me some of
mm-hmm.
this. And it's like, I want the same stuff I get in
Yeah,
Hawaii. Plus, the fish is so much fresher when it was caught that morning.
right, right. And not like
Yeah,
frozen like 2 weeks ago.
yeah,
No, but I remember this from Hawaii too. Going to the supermarket and then it's just like a little window kind of where it's just pokey. I could
yeah,
just point where it was. Yes,
yeah.
true. Is there anything else that you don't get used to? Like, I don't know,
Oh,
maybe like culture
things I do.
wise or like certain habits?
Oh, you know what? One thing I do not, I never got used to is the cultural appropriation.
What do you mean?
I you know, People throw in their luau's and stuff like that, and they think, "Oh, I'm gonna wear this grass skirt, and it's
Oh,
I'm gonna wear this grass skirt that I bought at Hobby Lobby with this frickin' like
coconut.
coconut
Yeah.
bra and this fake ass lay, and I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, it's now a luau. Or I'm gonna throw pineapple on shit, and then all of a sudden that makes it Hawaiian. Like
Right.
I never get used to that.
Uh-huh.
Um,
So it's just like what they assume the stereotypical Hawaiian is
yeah,
like. Yeah,
yeah.
okay. So do you feel offended by that?
I don't. I try not to get offended. I get tired.
Uh-huh.
I get tired of
Okay.
explaining it. Right. I'm not
Oh, okay.
necessarily offended because how why should I get offended? A lot of people don't know better. They don't know
Yeah.
better, so why? Yeah, I can't hold it against them. But I've never gotten used or gotten excited about having to explain.
Right. Uh-huh.
Another difficult thing growing up in Hawaii is a lot of the locals are out here saying, "Don't come to Hawaii, don't move to Hawaii." And I'm having been gone, we're going on 13, gosh, yeah, we're going on 14 years since I moved from Hawaii. I go there and sometimes I feel like I'm the tourist that's taking advantage of the culture.
Mm.
One thing it's very difficult to live in Hawaii. I think I was reading an article um, several years ago that said to make $93,000 in a year is considered low income in Hawaii. And $93,000
A
a year
lot.
in St. Louis, I mean, I'm very comfortable.
Oh,
I'm living
yeah.
it up.
Wait, but like in Hawaii, that's also a lot of money, isn't it? I mean, everything
It's
was,
not, and that's the thing. It's not. It's so expensive
it's so
to live
expensive.
there.
Yeah, I
Like,
remember the groceries, they're really
yeah,
expensive.
the groceries. What I've noticed, especially during the COVID years, is a lot of individuals who've been able to develop savings and save up money started taking advantage of the fact that they could afford to live in Hawaii.
Uh-huh.
They could afford to live in Hawaii, so they're taking up property. They're raising because they're building up property and they're developing in Hawaii. And outside investors from the mainland and from out
Yeah,
of other countries are coming in. It's
right.
driving up. It's driving up home values
Mm-hmm.
and locals, people who have lived in their homes for
They
generations,
cannot afford it anymore.
they can't afford it anymore. So they're literally getting priced out of paradise.
Yeah.
Um,
And where do you
and it's
go? You're
not,
on an island.
yeah, you're on an island.
You
So
cannot just
a lot of
whatever.
people, a lot of people have moved out of Hawaii. A lot of the locals and a lot of have moved out of Hawaii because they just simply can't afford to live in Hawaii. It's not uncommon to see, four generations with families living in a three-bedroom home in Hawaii.
Um, where do they move to? I mean,
They'll
they're
move.
going
They move
to.
to they move to the mainland. So they'll move to Seattle. They'll move to places on the West Coast that are a lot
Mm-hmm.
that are easier to afford because
Yeah.
property taxes aren't so high because they can make and save money. Um,
Mm.
and it's difficult for
Yeah.
that. And it's sad. And I have to think. My partner, he was at one point was like, oh, maybe we should get a timeshare on Hawaii, and
He's
I'm
like,
like, absolutely
no.
not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna contribute to buying property just so I can have a vacation home when somebody else local can can use that and live for their families.
Yeah.
So I don't want to. So I run into that's something I've gotten used to. I've never gotten used to. So I don't know how to have these conversations sometimes when people just want to visit. Like, yes, you can visit. We want you to visit because tourism drives so much of the
Mm-hmm.
economy in
Yeah.
Hawaii. But you have to be respectful. You have to understand that while you have rented your condo for 2 weeks in Hawaii, that literally right across the highway there is a area filled with tents and children there because these are people who have been priced out of their homes and they now have to create little communities living under tarps.
Mm.
Like, so
Okay.
it's difficult.
So you would support if you want to go to Hawaii, go to a hotel.
Yeah, go to a hotel,
Uh-huh.
be respectful of the culture, understand that you are, and buy from a local,
Yeah.
buy from a locally owned business, enjoy it, be respectful of it, but understand that these things are happening,
Yeah.
and it's in part because there's so much the Hawaiians, the locals are being so taken advantage of.
Mm. Yeah. I feel like with this home prices, I mean, all the companies come and buy everything up. You hear this
Hmm.
so many times. I mean, here
Yeah,
as well, you have like homeless left and right, right? I
yeah.
mean, I'm in
I mean,
Austin,
take
so it's
yeah, take for example the fires in Maui
yeah,
that were just a year ago. I mean,
right. They
you
still
know,
don't have anywhere to go,
they
probably.
still
They
don't
have
have
not.
anywhere to go. They
Uh-huh.
were, I mean, I think just recently the local government made an announcement that we're going to open up the hotels for you guys. And it's like, just now? Oh, now you give a shit because people aren't, now there's all this availability. And then of course the government gave the US, I think the most assistance they got was $700. Like, what is $700 going to do?
Total or per
I think
month
that's
or
I could be wrong,
one
but
time?
they got just, there was like assistance. You know how they did like the stimulus checks?
Uh-huh.
$700.
Yeah, but that's nothing. If you just
That's
lost
nothing.
everything,
Hmm.
and then
That's
you
nothing.
also don't have anywhere to go, because
Yeah. There's a lot of that going on. I get very
yeah,
very annoyed and passionate.
uh-huh,
That's something I have never gotten used to.
understandably.
And I don't think I ever want to get used to that. I think if those conversations ever come up, no matter who I'm speaking with, I want to speak very passionately and irritatedly about it
Yeah.
because it's BS.
Okay. Yeah. No. So people should know. I get it.
Yes.
You're
Yeah.
right. Okay. Let's change subjects.
Same to yeah.
You said this earlier. Does your family come visit you now since you were gone for such a long time?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
have actually. Um, I did say that there wasn't a lot of money and all that
Mm.
stuff, and my parents were just really, really good at saving. They really did.
Mm.
So I knew I knew even when I was young, I knew that them spending money to do things that I wanted to do meant they didn't have money for themselves. But all their kids are grown up. I'm the third of four.
Okay.
Yeah, so all the kids are grown up. They've got two grandkids, um, and now they've done so well saving, and they've been at their jobs for such a long time, and they've worked so hard that they're now able to travel and do things. And I remember something my mom talked about when we were kids. She's like, I just want to go and travel to places. I want to see Italy, and it's not uncommon where I call her on a Saturday and she's like, "Hey son, I'm in Canada." Or
Okay.
they took a trip to Japan, they went to Australia,
Okay.
like they
Cool. Yeah.
travel. So yes, my parents have come to see me. They've been in my home.
Nice.
They've
Uh-huh.
I think they enjoyed St. Louis. They certainly came up to watch me graduate. I'm the first doctor in the family, so they
Awesome. Yeah.
certainly came up to
Congrats.
watch me
Yeah.
graduate. And
Did
then my brother brought his
uh-huh.
family here last year. Again, another just wonderful trip, and so good to see them.
Okay, so I forgot if I even asked, were you from Honolulu or from the bigger city or
No, no, I'm
small?
from the big island of Hawaii is
Yeah.
called where all the lava flows happened.
Mm-hmm.
That island. That's I'm from that island. Honolulu has a giant city. That's the capital. That's on the island of
Yeah.
Oahu. Yep.
Ah,
I'm
okay. Oh,
from
so I thought
Hawaii
the big
Island.
island is
Yeah,
the where
yeah.
Honolulu is. Okay, so I got that wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. I did not want
That's
to offend
okay.
you. Um so how was it then for you, like being from small place in a big city, like big city life?
Oh,
Because St.
very,
Louis is pretty
yeah.
big.
Very big, yeah. So grew up what my community, my neighborhood that I grew up in Hawaii was historically a ancient fishing village. So
Uh-huh.
lots that's where I grew up in Hawaii
Okay.
on the east side of the Big Island, deep in like Pahoa is the name of the town in the Puna district.
Mm-hmm.
That should give you enough to if you guys want to start Googling it.
I will do it.
Um,
Yes.
yeah. Um, I do not like big cities.
Oh.
I don't like them. Um, I've been to Chicago once. I've been to Chicago once
Uh-huh.
and just drove through the downtown area with all the big buildings.
Yeah.
And I think in total that was maybe like 30 minutes of time. And I didn't even get out of the car, and I was like, I hate this place.
Oh, wow.
I was like,
Interesting.
I hate this place. I felt choked by
Ah,
all of the oh gosh, all of the
busy
buildings.
life
The
buildings,
busy,
too many
there's
people, everything,
people, there's
traffic.
cars, they're popping horns at each other.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
homeless people and people on the corner, and just surrounded by buildings and I can't see anything around me. I don't do well generally in large cities.
Okay.
I've never even been to New York, and I have no desire to ever go there.
Okay.
Um, but like Denver was beautiful. Denver as a city is very beautiful. There's not a lot of tall buildings in Denver, and you
Right,
can
that's
still
true.
see the mountains, across
Yeah,
the
you still
way.
see some
St.
nature, yeah.
Louis, yeah, St. Louis again, not a lot of tall buildings. You can
Okay.
see the arch for miles and miles away
Okay.
here in St. Louis, and I actually live about 30 minutes north of the city. So out
Okay.
here, very quiet. I've got a very nice yard. I like a small city. I like that togetherness that you can get in some cities, but for me, big cities just don't do it for me.
Are you in American suburbia?
Yeah,
Okay.
we can call it that.
All right. So you're in the most American thing ever.
Yeah.
All right. And so what do you think about the suburbia?
Oh, I mean, I love it. Growing up in Hawaii, my house, we had a front yard, we had a backyard, and then on three sides of the home, we were covered by trees and bushes and stuff
Uh-huh.
like that. So, I got to climb a lot of trees as a kid, and I got to play in the yard and all that stuff. So
Okay.
that to me, having trees and seeing green and seeing and having space in between my home and my neighbor's home is very important. The last place that I lived at in the city, only two sides of the house were actually available for me to walk around because
Mm-hmm.
one side was blocked off by the fence. Of course, I could stare and look right through my neighbor's window and see everything if I wanted, if their blinds were up. So that little bit of separation, having space to open up and be free, just
Yeah.
creates that little bit of freedom that I didn't feel in the city. And I mean, it was great living just 10 minutes away from work, but I wouldn't give it up for the space and how
Right.
freer I feel and happier I feel
Yeah.
in the home that I have today.
All right. Well, that's great. All right. So we're coming to an end. I feel like I asked
Yeah.
all the questions, and that was so nice.
Yeah.
Thanks
And
for
I was
being
just
on my
thinking, if you
podcast.
don't mind, I just this just popped into my head.
Oh,
One thing you asked earlier, one thing I never got used to. Definitely in my communication with people here, I never got used to having to explain Hawaii. One thing I never got used to was explaining here to my parents. Like,
all right.
what do
Yes.
you do this? What do you do that? And I'm just like, yeah, we don't do those things here, and we don't do that. That's not, that was one
Oh,
thing. It's just like
interesting.
it was difficult to have to explain cultural differences
Oh,
from
so vice
what I do
versa
here.
too.
'Cause, yeah, that's the other
Ah,
thing that,
I did not also think of that.
yeah,
But it's true. It's true. I mean, because I always get asked, like, if I go back home to Germany, I always get asked from family and neighbors, like,
yeah,
how do they do that, and what is it like that, and
yeah,
here it's the same. So
yeah.
yeah, true.
That's so funny that you mentioned you're from Germany. My grandmother's from Germany.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. Bavaria. I was born in
Uh,
Bavaria. That's
you
what she
were born.
says.
Oh, she's
No,
born
that's what
in.
my
Yeah, yeah,
grandmother
yeah, yeah.
says.
Okay,
It's like
she's
I was born
from
in
Bavaria.
Bavaria.
But
Yeah.
yes, it is not. Yeah, it's very special. It's like in
Yeah.
It's like in the U.S. Texas. It's like
Mhm.
we're
Yeah.
so proud.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that was Alika. How nice to hear his story. So I hope you don't mind me asking stupid questions sometimes, because when I re-listened to this, I cringed totally. And I have to apologize to Alika that I asked a stupid question like if he hasn't learned in school to shake hands. I mean, sorry. Sorry, I didn't want to be disrespectful. And then I'm also glad that he spoke his mind about people being disrespectful and taking advantage of Hawaiians when they go there on vacation. If you are planning your next vacation to Hawaii, then maybe rethink what he just said and rethink the way how you want to spend your holiday or how you want to plan your holiday there. always a good idea to support small and local businesses. Okay, and that was it for this week. I hope you tune in again next week for another episode of Worlds Collide. If you want to reach out to me, please do so at worldscollide123pod@gmail.com. You can also send me a text at Instagram. It's worldscollidepod, just one word, or also on Threads or TikTok. Okay, that was it. And I will hear you, or you will hear me again next time. Bye.